In a huge setback to US President Donald Trump, US Court of International Trade, they have invalidated the 10% additional tariff put by US President aftermath of US Supreme Court have invalidated his tariff. So when the tariff was invalidated, which is imposed by the Donald Trump have used US Trade Act of 1974 and imposed 10% tariff on the countries with whom US is having trade deficit. In this way, according to the law, President can impose up to 15% tariff to those countries with whom US have a trade deficit. And this tariff will be temporary in the nature, but up to 150 days. If it is temporary, why Donald Trump have imposed that tariff? The reason is he want to get a better leverage in the trade negotiation with the country like India. Means US can always push country like India in the bilateral talk. Still, I can impose tariff on you despite US Supreme Court have removed those tariffs. So there was an intention for putting in an additional tariff. But certain states like Washington state in the US, they have went to the US Trade Court against the president's order. Now the court with the order of 2:1, they said that this tariff is invalid and president cannot impose such tariff. But here there is a catch. This benefit is going to be given to only those parties who went to the court against the president order. And apart from this, US already trying to use another section of US Trade Act 1974, for example, Section 301, which is recently in the news, and Section 232. Under Section 301, which is an important section, why? Because it allows US to investigate those countries with whom US is doing the trade, and if there is any violation with respect to labor laws in that country. For example, India is exporting their goods to US and US will initiate the investigation under Section 301 of US Trade Act 1974. And under this investigation, if they will found that labor laws are being violated in India, then they can impose an additional tariff on India. And this Section 301 was well used by US administration in the past. And whenever it is being challenged in the US courts, usually US courts are skeptical with respect to turning it down. So still he have this section of the Trade Act to use against country like India. If not used, definitely India is going to have an edge in the bilateral trade negotiations going with the US. But if 301 is going to be used by US, then definitely it is going to be a leverage point by the US in the bilateral negotiation talks. Apart from 301, Section 301, US can also use Section 232 of their Trade Act, which is related to the national security. Means if US president believes that the national security issue arises with respect to the trade with any other country with whom US have the deficit in their balance of payment, then US can initiate a national security law in order to impose additional tariff. So in this way, situation is not going to be in the favor of any side but all these things are going on. But because of all these things, the trade negotiation between India and USA is getting slower day by day. Now, judiciary is also involved. So how these trade negotiations are going to take a momentum, it is going to be matter of observation. We are having a consistent eye on this matter. If there will be any update, we will provide you the update in a detailed manner. Thank you.